And I'm gonna transition from newborn baby talk to newborn baby toes and feet. And this section of the slide I moved up for a lot of people that are having back issues. Look at this foot, and look at this foot, and tell me what shape that is.
Like a cone.
Yeah. Now look at your shoes, like a running shoe, and tell me what shape that is.
Oh my God,
that
it's
shape.
almost like a rectangular.
Completely inverted.
Yeah.
So human feet are pointed at the heel and are super wide at the toes, and that's how they're supposed to be your entire life. And so Mariah's baby Leo, this is baby Leo. So
Wow.
baby Leo from yoga, this is baby Leo's foot. Just to say, the baby that you saw today, that's the baby's foot. As you can see, super wide on the toes and narrow. And then what happens is that we take these babies and we stick them into these shoes that have pointed toe boxes, and then eventually their toes are forced to bend in, because the shoe industry doesn't make shoes that fit people's feet. They're making people's feet fit into their shoes. And if you look down at your toes right now and they don't go out, if they go in, then you have hip problems and back problems and balance issues. And so what I'm saying is that we need to be on flat shoes with wide toe boxes, and eventually our feet will start to come back out. But so many of my, I've had clients and friends that, you know, they're wearing these huge padded shoes. Your foot needs to be as close to the ground. It has nothing even to do with earthing. Like the flat sandals, you know, no indents for your food, no arch support. You can't go there, but that's what human beings are meant to be on. And as soon as they start putting arch support in there and having these thick things or all this waffling or it's going to a toe, then it develops hip structure, balance, and huge issues. And women, there's women that are having their pinky toe surgically removed so they think that they'll fit into their shoes and look sexy.
Oh my God.
And it's this thought pattern as humans that has gotten us into so much trouble. So they're into these pointy shoes because in the past, everybody had to work hard every day just to stay alive. And then all of a sudden there became like a rich, affluent crowd, and then they would build, you know, their palace like you see in some PBS, you know, show. And then they build their palace, and then they started wearing, so those women started wearing pointy-toed shoes to say, look at me and my pointy toes. I don't have to walk to go get water. I don't have to tend to the, you know, the fruit orchard. I don't have to work for somebody else. I can wear pointy toes that have complete no value or, you know, human ability or value. And then what happens when the upper class starts to do something? The class below them starts to mimic, and the class below them starts to mimic, and now pointy toe shoes is considered a sign of beauty, and we're reenacting stuff from hundreds of years ago, as opposed to wearing wide shoes. So we should be wearing wide shoes, what's called wide toe box, zero drop, which is there's no difference in the height of the heel. And then you want them what would be called barefoot. It's just a style where there's just the most minimum part of rubber. And you can't just jump into those.
Fastest guy in the world. Look at his feet.
Fastest guy in the world wears these pointed little shoes, and his toes are completely deformed in and completely deformed. One of the richest guys in the world, he's had how many, like, I don't know, 25 different shoes made in his name.
Look at
And his toes are bent. That's LeBron. His toes are bent over because those guys run and stop in those pointy shoes, and it just forces their feet in. Anybody that's wearing pointy shoes and is rubbing is just asking for back injuries. And you can see how pointed they are right there. And then these are Michael Jordan's feet. Some of the most, you know, he's had the most famous shoes ever made, and they all come to a point. And every single person wears pointy Jordans, and his feet are destroyed.
Wow.
So these are the brands that I recommend.
There they are.
There they are.
But Greg, who was here, Greg was having back injuries that were so bad that I was riding in the car with him. He got out of the car and he was laying on his back like a turtle, knees to nipple. And he had looked at back surgery, he had looked at everything. And I put him in a pair of these LEMs. So he ordered a pair of these, and within a week his back issues were completely gone.
Wow.
And so he's ordered 6 pairs of these, his uncle has 2 pairs, and his mom even has 4 pairs.
Look at all your detailed information.
This is great, Tom.
Have you taken pictures?
It just gets, this book is so thick. This is just,
So this is a good
Really?
pair.
Of what
If
he's
you go
got.
straight to like toe sock barefoot, your muscles aren't developed. If your toes are pointing at each other, you don't have the balance to be able to go straight barefoot. You need to just work your way down.
I was in Germany and I bought the Vivo barefoot, whatever that last one there. I bought 2 pairs.
Yeah, Vivo barefoot.
I was walking 2-3 times as hard as I normally do, and I was hurt.
What?
I was hurting just because I was not used to flat.
Yeah, if you haven't, you have to develop the muscle the same way you have to, you have to redevelop the muscle. You've taken your balance, your muscles, and putting them on your shoes, as opposed to letting your body do the work and the shoe just be a buffer between you and, you know, a rock.
So Tom, is that the order start with the one on the left and work everywhere?
It's kind of, as you can see, this one's like a clown shoe. So this one's like the transition, and this would be the end. You know,
full clown show.
full clown show. But when you click on the, like all of these are clickable. When you click on it, it takes you to the website.
Right.
Can you start?
So of course, if you get a shoe, the barrier, it's just important that the barrier between your toe and the bed of the shoe is a natural fiber, or you put a natural fiber in there. But these are some of the cheaper versions. These are Amazon versions.
So you don't have to spend a lot of money to have good feet.
And then these are Amazons.
What would you recommend for at least athletes? How would you recommend that?
Is it during competition or during training?
Well, we're actually both.
You'd almost have to have a shoe custom made.
Some of you have brothers. Look at you.
Tom, could you go back to the one right before? Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
If I was an athlete, I would have a cobbler custom. I've seen videos of athletes getting their foot cast and their toes are wide, and then they just make them a shoe that's completely to a point, because that's how they're ingrained. I mean, what's the best? The best is to get like these Earth Runners. So Earth Runners have a wide toe box, 0 drop. They got a more natural base. The loops around them are nylon, but you can get these like, they have these little beads in them, and they're actually grounding. So when you're walking, the metal's touching your foot, comfortably touching your foot, and then it's also touching the ground.